sea is better than anything they got up there. The seaweed is always greener in some part.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to
Up there, but that is a big mistake. Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor.
Under the Sea with Spencer.
What are you looking for?
Under the sea, under the sea, under the sea with Spencer. Under the sea, under the sea, under the sea with Spencer. Okay, guys, so today I'm gonna be teaching you a secret recipe that and it's the Saltfish and Dumpling recipe, and I'd like to share with you guys. So, but before we start this recipe, we always have to remember to wash our hands thoroughly to make sure that there are no germs on our hands. So once you're done that, you're probably going to have your saltfish and your accessories or ingredients in the fridge with you to make sure that they are still fresh. So we are going to grab the saltfish, onions, and tomatoes out of the fridge. After you're done that, you're going to have to dice the onions and the tomatoes because you are going to be putting the saltfish in a strainer. The next step is that you're going to lightly put your saltfish and rinse it just a bit before you start to boil it. Once you're done rinsing it, you are going to have to fill this up with water. So then the saltfish will boil. You're going to lightly put the saltfish into the bowl, so then you make sure that it does not splash. And you're going to put that on high. You're going to wait for that to boil for 30 minutes. But while that's boiling, you're going to have to dice up the tomatoes. And put them aside with the onions. Once you're done that, you're going to have to wait for the saltfish to boil. For the dumpling recipe, there are a lot of different ingredients. But the first ingredient that you have to add is the flour. You're going to add 2 cups of flour. A tablespoon of cornmeal. A tablespoon of sugar. A tablespoon of baking powder. And a dash of salt. And remember to be very gentle when you turn it on. And warning, do not ever put your hands inside the bowl at all times because you don't want your hands to be messed up when you come out. 10 seconds. You're going to turn it off. Grab a cup of water. And then you're going to add it in. And remember, guys, if the dumpling is not forming a ball while you're cooking it, while you're mixing it, make sure to add a bit of water until it forms a ball. When it starts to form a ball, take it, turn the mixture off. After it is done mixing, you want to make, if it's very sticky, you want to make sure that you put a bit of flour on, because flour doesn't make it as sticky. You want to make sure it's not sticky. And I want you guys to take a bit at a time. Then roll it up until it forms a golf ball. Then put it in the flour if it's really sticky, and just roll it in there because it makes it less sticky. And remember, guys, while you're doing the dumpling, you always have to watch out for your saltfish to make sure everything's good, because there's a warning. If it boils over, that's unsafe. That is not something good, which it's doing right now. You take that off the stove, and that's showing you that now it's time to turn it down to medium high. When you're done your 10 to 11 dumplings, you're going to want to saute the onions and the tomatoes. But remember, the pan is usually on and it's very hot. But before you put that in, you're going to want to make 2 humongous or big circles around the pot. The pan. Then slowly add the tomatoes and the onions.
No, don't throw it so high.
It's very hot. Warning, don't get splashed. And you're just gonna wait until the onions are transparent. When the onions are transparent, that tells you that they are ready and done for the saltfish to be added in. But now the saltfish has been boiling for 30 minutes. So you're gonna take the saltfish off. Take the lid off slowly. Turn off the stove because you're not using it anymore. And you're gonna wanna pour all the steam that you don't need anymore from the saltfish into the strainer and put the saltfish into the strainer. Now, if you guys don't know saltfish, saltfish is extremely salty. And what you're going to want to do is take all that salt off because you're not going to need it. Only a bit of salt's good for you, and too much is really bad for diabetes. What you're going to want to do is strain it because there's a lot of salt. After you're done straining it, you're going to want to mash it with a fork. When you are done mashing the saltfish, you are going to want to rinse it one more time because it could still contain a lot of salt on it. And you might not know that. Then you're going to want to put that aside. Now, you can't forget about the tomatoes and onions. And what you're going to want to do is add a dash of cayenne pepper. And add black pepper up to your taste. Then you're going to wait for that. But you can't forget to stir it because you want to make sure it mixes properly and it tastes good. Then, while this is mixing, one of the closest to the last steps you're going to want to do is add the saltfish to the mixture slowly. Then you're going to mix that up. And wait for it for 15 minutes. But remember to stir occasionally for 15 minutes. After you're done stirring your saltfish occasionally for 15 minutes, you're going to turn that on low to make sure it does not burn. Then, while it's on low, you're going to want to finish off your dumpling. So you're going to do another around circle of olive oil. And remember, the pan's hot, so you don't want to put your hands close to it so you don't burn yourself. And then you're going to add the dumpling. You're going to stir that oil around to make sure it gets everywhere. You're going to add the dumpling slowly to the pan. And remember, if you have 11 or 10 dumplings, you don't have to add all of them at the same time. You could do 4 at a time, 5 at a time, 6 at a time, as long as you have enough space for them. Because if they don't have enough space, they're going to connect to each other. And that's not a good thing. So, wait for every side to get a bit brown, and that tells you that it's finished. But remember to grab a separate plate because you want to put the dumpling on it. Well, the saltfish is looking really good, and if it looks like this, then that's showing you that it's almost done or it is done. In my case, it is done. Now, you just have to wait for the dumpling to turn all brown on all sides. And that is going to finish your recipe. After you're done your recipe, enjoy your meal.